Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 33 of Never Before Seen. My name is AmberCyprian. I will be your host tonight as we bring you speedruns of games that have never before been seen in a mainline GDQ event. As always, if you happen to speedrun a game or category that has never been run in an AGDQ, SGDQ, or GDQx, and you'd like to submit it to the show, type exclamation mark NBS into the chat, and you'll be able to find the link to send me your runs, and I would love to have you on board. So before we get started with the runs that we have planned for tonight, we do have a few announcements. First and foremost, Summer Games Done Quick is coming up June 26th to July 3rd. It is almost upon us, but prize submissions are now open, so if you go to gamesdonequick.com, you'll get more information on that. And Frame Fatales will be having its next all-women's speedrunning event, Flame Fatales, in late August. Type exclamation mark FF into the Twitch chat, or go to gamesdonequick.com/Frame Fatales for more information. So tonight on NBS, we are taking a dive into some more indie games with two very different tones. So coming up first, we have Air Angel showing off Sparktacular Sparky, a love letter to the age of 16-bit mascot games with some high-octane platformer shooter action. Okay, great job.
Shooter action.
Right after that, we're going to have Midnight Vesper joining us as he takes us through Karmaflow, the rock opera video game, which is a 3D puzzle platformer that tells its story through adaptive music and a sung narrative. I've got Air Angel here with me right now, and I'm excited to hop into the first round of the show. How are you tonight? Thanks for being on.
I am super excited to show this off because honestly, I never thought I would show it off anywhere. So this is an awesome time to show off this ridiculous game.
Oh yeah, when I took a look at the submissions when I was trying to figure out what in the world am I going to do for my episode right before SGDQ,
right.
And I saw Sparktacular Sparky, and you described it, I think, as like very colorful. I was like, all right, I'm interested, and I clicked it, and I was like, oh, this looks delightful. It looks absolutely delightful, and this title screen, everyone take a look at this title screen. It is giving me serious Rystar vibes right now. It's all I can think about.
It is kawaii, but I am just wait. Unfortunately, it gets kind of dark, so it's like, I don't know. It's almost like the Goosebumps kind of thing, like the art's super silly, but then it's supposed to be a horror story. So there's gonna be a lot of twists in this. So I hope y'all are ready for that. But it's great, amazing art, and I'll probably talk about it more during the game because it's pretty out there.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this because on the surface it looks like it's going to be kind of like from what I've seen from the submission. I skimmed it because I like watching the full runs on the show, and just seeing a lot of run and gun platforming happening. I was just like, oh, this is awesome. And the GIF that I chose for the tweet tonight that just went out on the Twitter for GDQ has you're in a what looks like Dr. Robotnik's Egomatic or Dr. Eggman's Egomatic, just fighting a boss, and it's basically borderline side scroller shooter at that point. And
yeah,
it looks like a bullet hell, and I'm like, yeah.
It's very arcade vibes, and there's a lot of homages to a lot of games, which is a lot of fun. But no, the GIF you chose tonight was pretty great. So I was super happy to see that.
Oh yeah. So if you are ready, we can hop right into this run and get things started. I'm excited to hear the music, check out everything going on, and honestly, I hope chat has a good time too.
Yeah, sure thing. So first and foremost, I want to show off the options. There are different difficulties, different ways you can control the sound effects, music, volume, and stuff like that. There's a lot of accessibility with this game, so if you are a baby gamer like me, I am one of those people that love just getting through the game when I first get it. I just want to play through it. I want the story, I want the plot, I want to see all the mechanics and stuff, and then I go back through the difficulties and and then progressively get harder and harder. So we're going to be doing 100% today, and I'm going to go over that during the speedrun, and I'll give a countdown as soon as I click campaign in 3, 2, 1, go. And also, another great thing about this game is that you can skip a lot of the cutscenes, which is pretty great for a lot of speedrunners that don't really enjoy cutscenes. I will watch cutscenes at the very beginning when I play them because, you know, you want the lore, right? So this is sort of the tutorial phase. As you can see, there's monsters coming from everywhere. I'll talk a little bit about the lore throughout the game because there's not a whole lot, but the lore that is there is definitely something to note. So I do want to pick up this weapon. So in the middle of my screen, you'll see that there are 2 weapon types that I can go between. So this weapon type that I picked up is basically the most powerful. It's sort of like a concentrated fireball, which, you know, who doesn't like concentrated fireballs, I guess. But it does run out of juice, I guess, is what you could call it, or stamina. You do have stamina and health on the left side of the screen, and your weapons can overheat. So if your weapon does overheat, aka you use it too much too quickly, you won't have that weapon type anymore. And this one that I picked up as well is sort of like an automatic trace weapon. So it will pick up any... Sorry, I almost fell over, but I didn't. That's fine. It'll pick up and like target any enemy. So like if you want to specifically target an enemy above you so you can go to the next section, just point it upwards or else they'll target the closest one to you. So the closest one isn't necessarily the one that you want to, you know, hit. So on each screen there are different, I guess, required phases that you have to fight. I guess is a better word for it. So this is the first sub-boss. Sorry, I'm gonna laugh during this whole thing. So this is Dusty, Dusty the Moth. And Dusty just leaves a trail of dust. Go figure. And I guess I should go into a bit of the lore of the story, since we're fighting Dusty. So this is Sparky. Sparky is an intergalactic bounty hunter, so sort of think about Cowboy Bebop meets 90s Nickelodeon with very colorful pixel art. So we are actually on our first bounty right now, and I will go into who we're trying to catch. But basically, Sparky is an interesting character. Sparky is made up of stardust. And there's obviously a rabbit, so shout out to Char Bunny. I know Char is probably in chat right now and loves all rabbits, no matter if they are bounty hunters or not. So shout out to Char. Sorry, there's a lot happening.
Ooh, that flutter though.
Yeah, so you can sort of I guess flutter is actually a really good word for it. You can sort of fly with your ears. Just for a couple seconds. Obviously, if you run out of stamina and the green bar in the left corner, you will fall. For anybody looking for a speedrun that's really bad at platforms and wants one that's more forgiving, this one actually isn't bad. The platforming can be a little difficult sometimes, especially if you run into an enemy. You get a bit of a knockback, which can be a little stressful. Sorry, I had to make sure I didn't die there. But it is pretty forgiving in terms of... Sorry, this enemy just like... So this is what, when I say the 90s Nickelodeon, it's this enemy right here.
This makes me think of Real Monsters.
Exactly. And I am a true 90s kid, and this just gets me every time. But anyways, what was I saying? Anyways, so the saves and like the respawns are very generous, and you don't have a set of lives for this difficulty. So that's really nice. If you just want to get through a game, this is a really fun, as you can see, it's like an arcade shooter type. So if you just want to shoot some aliens, get some stars, I don't know. Sometimes you just have those days, right? That you just want to play like an arcade game that's not, I wouldn't say mindless, but because there is a good amount of strategy to this, but it's something that's a little bit more high speed. You don't have to think too much about like routing in particular. I wouldn't say I'm that much of a routing person. I'm sort of what you would call a tank gamer. I just run into things and hope I don't die. I've gotten a lot better at that with speedrunning because I have found, obviously, dying in video games is a bad thing if you're trying to play them fast, but so all these star pickups are health pickups, which is really nice. Every enemy that you defeat will drop stars, and the more difficult the enemy to defeat, I almost fell, the more stars you get. So, like, a bunch of the bosses and sub-bosses, you will get a bunch of stars, which is nice, especially if you're just finishing a level. You'll see me not pick up some health pickups. Oh my gosh. Sorry, an enemy just like walked into a sub-boss corner. And I did not see them. I was just like, what are you doing here? Sorry, anyways. Oh, I should also mention on the top, I guess sort of right-ish, yeah, top right corner you see a timer. This is actually a speedrun timer, which is good for splits, if anyone doesn't want to use splits. I tend to not use splits because they take up a bunch of space on my computer for live split sometimes, so I am trying to be careful with my health on this boss because he's a rock, so obviously being squished by a rock is not a good thing, but that wasn't too bad. And then under armor, there are armor and health pickups, so if that goes up 0 to 200%, that's extra health buff before your actual health gets depleted, which is super nice. And now we are, sorry, I just get so excited. Does anybody just like remember those infomercials from like the late 90s that are like, you could go kite surfing, skydiving, it's so freaking cool, and you're like, that sounds kind of terrifying. Why does everyone want to do this?
Oh my god, hang gliding.
Yes, that's the word. I was like, I don't know, I couldn't find the word, but hang gliding just, I think the concept is cool. I personally find it kind of a little terrifying. But, so there are a couple of auto-scrollers in this game, and this is one of them, but all of the auto-scrollers have their own little random, like, why are we writing this thing? I don't quite understand, like, where does this come from? Like, nobody dropped this off for us. It was just there, and we were supposed to just agree to go on this hang glider right now? Like, I don't know. I think about that kind of stuff when I play games. Like, did everyone just, like, go home? They're like, oh, we'll just, like, leave this here on this planet. That's totally fine. Like,
yeah, the randomness of the hang glider's existence reminds me of like Pac-Man 2, The New Adventures, where there's just a hang glider chilling in a tree.
Yes, oh my gosh. But yeah, so sail to the end of this. I'm gonna get a couple of health pickups. This is Planet Dave. I don't know, I feel bad for Planet Dave because I think Planet Dave just wants friends. And he just tries really hard to be a planet. So I actually picked up an armor pickup, so I am not worrying about my health right now. Maybe in a second. So also anyone that's just, I know this is a really specific thing, but if you're squeamish with like weird pixel art, it's starting about right now. Like obviously we're fighting like a brain. I don't know. I just kind of find that like Goosebumps spooky, but that's also just like my upbringing, I guess. Or like, what was that show? It was like After Dark or something like that.
Are you afraid of the dark?
Are you afraid of the dark? Yeah. I'm just like, great, I'm terrified. Got it. Like, but it's also sort of funny. That's how I found out. All right, so this is actually another auto-scroller. If you wanted to go through some announcements or anything like that.
Yeah, sure. I just want to remind everyone that from now until July 15th, GDQ's revenue from subs, Prime Gaming subs, gift subs, and bits cheered after taxes will be donated by GDQ to Doctors Without Borders. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you should check out our live streams if you're interested in looking at our live content. If you go to twitch.tv/gamesdonequick, we start most weeknights at 7 p.m. Eastern and weekends at 1 p.m. Eastern. So we would love to have you come over from YouTube over to our actual live content. That'd be pretty cool. And oh my god, this does not do anything but remind me of like Dr. Eggman's Eggomatic.
Yep. Also, so our best friend is a shark pig, who is another intergalactic bounty hunter that was also a part of a biker gang in space, but also a part of a gang of like fierce warriors or something. There's like it's a lot. This relationship is really funny because Sparky's like super playful and he's like, okay, Sugarloaf, and he's like, don't call me that, and you're like, oh, y'all are best friends. Like, it is the most odd thing. And also a shark pig, I never thought like conceptually would work, but you'll see at the end of the game that you'll see like a full body composition of them, and it's something. So this sub boss is Cookie. So apparently Shigsy the shark pig and Cookie, I think there was a love interest at some point during whatever intergalactic war was happening. And now we have to defeat her, unfortunately. But yeah, so
oh my goodness, her hairstyle is so cool.
I love her, honestly. Her whole outfit. For those that don't know, I do own a couple motorcycles myself. I am a rider, and I absolutely adore her entire outfit. Not that I would wear it on a motorcycle because it looks very dangerous, but the aesthetic, I am here for it. And even her makeup is really good, actually. Like,
oh yeah,
I love everything about
like
this
that
outfit.
Is some glam rock, some glam punk rock, like eyeliner and eyeshadow, like real talk.
This is like rock opera stuff. Like, I am so
which
here
is
for
like
it.
a great segue into the fact that we have Karmaflow coming up after this run, which, by the way, if everyone's wondering why the schedule command says Karmaflow, that's my fault. I originally spelled Karmaflow incorrectly in the Discord today with Karama flow, and our wonderful producer Richard, who produces the show and Mercy Kill, decided to, when I was like, hey, can you fix the command? Because I hecked up the spelling because he copy pasted it from me. He's like, I got you. And he knows I like Yu Yu Hakusho, which is my favorite anime, and just like replace it with Karama, like the character.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, well, here we are.
can we get a GG, Richard?
Like, if anyone knows me, it is not an episode of Never Before Seen if I don't either mute myself and still talk, or I typo something.
Look, whoever doesn't mute themselves during any show anywhere on the internet, are you really like a bona fide show? Like, you gotta do it at least once or twice. But yeah, so anyways, we're in sort of like a... I don't know how to describe this other than sort of like a Blade Runner-esque city.
Spork Weekly.
Yeah. The backgrounds are really fun. Okay, cool. I had enough energy for that. I wanted to get that boost because of what's coming up. So these balloons are awesome and sort of terrifying, and you'll see why in a second. Mainly because we have to use them as a platform in a second, which isn't great. For those of you that have ever wanted to use a balloon as a platform, don't do it. 10 out of 10 do not advise. They will pop, and then you will have nowhere to go. Just as like a word of caution. I probably didn't bring it up earlier, but you do have sort of like the zippy function, which is the right trigger. And this is one of the most terrifying sub-bosses in the game because it is literally a headless, bodiless clown, and I hate it. I hate it so much. Yeah, it's so scary. I don't...
Although I see the red nose, and I'm just like, all I can think about is the red spheres in the blue sphere special stage of Sonic 3 and Knuckles. So I would totally put the background music to the blue sphere music, like da 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 da, and just like have that just speeding up while the boss is going.
See, you make me feel better because I don't like clowns, like in any capacity. I read the book It way too early when I was a kid, and I say early as in like I was too young to read that book, and ever since then I didn't even see the movie. I didn't have to see the movie, chat. After reading that book, I just like I can't. So anyways, the clown thing is done. That's something I've never said before. But yeah, so the balloons are sort of a godsend, and they're sort of terrifying. And these little robot police are kind of funny. They sort of remind me of like the little robot from WALL-E that's just like, I think his name was Mole or something. He had the light on top of his head, and he just like cleaned up after people, and like he just, I don't know, he turned into like WALL-E's friend or something in the end. Shout out to WALL-E. So if you notice, if anything falls from the sky, there's sort of like a alert, a warning, I guess, if you will, that'll say like, hey, there's this thing that's about to fall on top of your head. The one thing with this game is sometimes you don't know when you have sort of like the mandatory shootout sessions, which can be a little difficult. Okay, so this is Nightshade. Everyone, I want you to appreciate Nightshade and welcome to this fan club. I say fan club because Sparky, a little part of the lore here. So Nightshade is another bounty hunter that is trying to get back at Sparky because her boss told her to. And Sparky's like, oh my god, you're Nightshade, I love you. And she's just like, so I have to kill you now? And Sparky's like, no, it's okay, we're gonna be best friends. And she's like, no. Like, and we'll see her multiple times throughout this entire game, but it's really funny because Sparky totally has a fan crush on Nightshade, but Nightshade's just like, dude, I literally have to fight you right now. Like, stop it. Like, we're not friends. I feel so bad for Sparky because he's just like kind of oblivious. And also, a part of me thinks that part of the lore is that he's invincible of sorts. Like, we haven't died yet, so like, knock on wood, but I think he just doesn't believe that anyone can kill him, so he's just like, ah, whatever, we can be friends, that's fine. And it's like, alright.
I adore this game's art style, and someone else in chat mentioned that like Nightshade looks kind of like a Sonic character. Yeah, it looks kind of like a evil like Miles Tails Prower. And then Sparky, like, when you were like, yeah, Sparky's kind of oblivious, and he's just like, you know, very much like excited about Nightshade. Like his voice, what little I've heard of his voice reminds me of SpongeBob.
Oh my gosh, yes. It's basically the SpongeBob factor, or like One Piece fans, sort of like Luffy. Like Luffy is like super powerful, and everyone's like, what's this kid doing? And then you're like, wow, this kid is powerful, that's fine. It's sort of like the underdog anti-hero, because he's not really a hero, I guess, because we're bounty hunters, but like, it is legal in this space era, so I don't really know. I don't really know the ethics that go into this 16-bit world or whatever. But
yeah, someone else is bringing up Toe Jam and Earl, and I'm like, yes, this is exactly what I was thinking too. Like, this has big Sega vibes throughout this whole thing. I love it.
Totally. So yeah, that was the subway scene. I feel like, and it sort of goes through like all the arcade, like
kind of like tropey areas.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, there's a jungle, there's a city, you're riding on top of a subway because why not? There's gonna be a lava level later on. There's gonna be a really gross level that I don't want to talk about until we get there. Y'all are just gonna have to wait. But yeah, so there's a lot of like the standard tropes. It's sort of like, I guess, any other video game, that it's sort of like you kind of have to do it. Like if you don't do it, like you'll feel bad if you don't do it. I'm not a developer. I'm asking the question for chat. Like, what compels you to do like sort of like, I wouldn't say a norm, but sort of, I guess it's like a tradition kind of thing, but also it gives you different ideas for like level sets, so I guess I understand. So now we're at the most terrifying part for me, and we have to use the balloons for
for a shootout. Oh goodness.
Yep.
So these are definitely Carnival Night balloons. You can't convince me otherwise.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely, they definitely mix, oh wow, okay, that was a lot of them all at once. They definitely mix like a city carnival vibe in this.
Yeah, I like this a lot.
that enemy sort of blended in the background for me, and I didn't realize he was still there. Alright, so this actually is the end of any percent after we defeat Sarge. So this is Sarge wants you to submit to a marathon or something, I don't know.
Yeah, he wants you to submit your prizes to SGDQ while those submissions are open.
Yeah. He told me. But so basically Sarge used to be a human, and then he got obsessed with being a cyborg, and now he's a cyborg spider thing. But fun fact, if you stand right under a spider, you don't get hurt. So that's what we do. We stand right under here and we don't get hurt. Which is sort of like a very funny, I don't know, it's like a quirk of this boss, because if you play this casually and you didn't know that all you had to do is get super close and to get right under him, this boss is actually not incredibly easy until you figure that out. So the more you know, get closer to your enemies, I guess, to destroy them. I don't know. Don't use that advice all the time, especially if you play like Dark Souls or something. But dodge, roll. So that was the end of any percent, but we are playing 100%, so we're gonna keep going. So any percent is basically the first bounty, which is Sarge, and 100% are all the bounties. So this level is icky. I don't know how to describe it other than icky. It's like, it is the Nickelodeon slime booger fest.
Oh
with
god,
bugs. Yeah, it is like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, they're literally relating this level, this world, to like a public bathroom, which is honestly fair. So like, it's so gross. I don't know. I sort of get over it after a while, but so this sub-boss is coming up is not entirely difficult, but for a starting player, you just really have to, you know, do the whole dodgeball thing. You gotta dip, duck, dive, dodge, and dodge again, or whatever it is. But most of the speedrun, honestly, is monitoring your health and getting armor upgrades as much as you can, so you can get in the prime spots to shoot enemies. There are actually a lot of other categories to this game, including like different difficulty level, and there's also a category where you literally only have X amount of time to finish a level, and if you don't, you game over. So it's sort of like times you in a way. I haven't completed that yet on the highest difficulty because it's actually very hard, but I'm gonna pick up these upgrades. So this is a skeleton worm thing, and it is nasty. It is very gross. But yeah, so we're gonna shoot this thing. I don't know what else to call it. It's the skeleton worm thing.
Oh my god. Like,
yeah.
I don't know what you'd call it either, other than like a skeleton worm. Yeah, it's got its bones on the outside. That's not how that works.
And then he's like, I don't think when people tell you to open up that's what you think it is. Like, that's not what that means. So anyways, that's done. The yucky boss is gone. But now we have to deal with the really awkward yucky level. I wouldn't say it's awkward. I just get sort of squeamish with, like, I don't know, boogers. I don't know what it is. It's just like, ew. It's just like a virus level. I guess that's another way to put it, is like a virus level, or like the worm Jim or whatever his name is.
Earthworm Jim, yeah.
Earthworm Jim, yeah. Earthworm Jim is fine. I have no problem with earthworms, but I have problems with these bugs. So another mechanic is introduced is these little snot bubble things. You bounce off of them, and if you bounce even to the side of them, you will be knocked to the other side of the screen, which is actually kind of difficult when you're platforming. Fun fact, if you're knocked sideways when you're trying to platform, you will go sideways. I don't know how to put it. So you have to make sure you jump right on top of the bouncing virus booger thing, or else you will literally be like tossed to the other side of the room, which is not fun. So I gotta time this little... So I could soft lock there, which is actually not fun. Fun fact, don't soft lock anywhere. Like here. Sorry, I'm having fun, but it is very difficult to not die. So I'm using the tracer mechanism here so I can get rid of the bugs. Also, if you get hit by the bugs will push you down or sideways, so there's like a lot happening in this level. Which, I mean, go figure, a lot is trying to kill us because we're, I don't know. Everyone's out to get Sparky. I don't really know why. I kind of know why, but we'll get to that later. I don't want to spoil the lore for you. So at this point in the game, I would say things are going to get more hectic. There's going to be more monsters. There's going to be more stars going everywhere. There's also going to be a lot more danger and a lot more of me hopefully not dying. But so there's going to be another mechanic coming up where we have to bounce on top of a... I don't know how to call it. For anyone that lived through the era of when you're in gym class, it was like you were jumping on these, or like you're sitting on the bouncy ball things. I don't know what they were called, but it's after this sub-boss. I'll show you in a second. So for this sub-boss, has a bunch of eyeballs. You want to hit the bigger eyeball, which is a big go figure with any video game. It's like maybe you should attack the head or the main part of the thing that's rotating, possibly.
Yo, weird tentacle Kracko, is that you?
Probably.
I don't know, floating eyeball makes me like that, makes me think of Kracko from Kirby.
Oh yeah, totally. That's really funny. I played Kirby's Adventure on the last Hotfix show I was on, so I definitely know. Also, this section right here reminds me of Mega Man 2, right before you go try to beat a random alien. Also, anyone else has played Mega Man 2, why is there an alien involved in it? At the very end, right. There is like a random alien, and it's just like, I thought, who are you? Like,
like, why are you an alien? When did you become
it's like, why are you here?
Yeah.
Well, it was just like, why was he there? Because like what's his name? The Dr.
Wiley.
Wiley is like doing his plot stuff, which is fine. But like, when did an alien come into play? Were they just like, and I say they, like the developers, like, you know what? Let's just put an alien at the end of this. Sure. And I'm like, every single time I think of the drop, like right before you fight the alien, there's like drops coming from the ceiling that is apparently acid. So it's just like, oh, okay, so there's acid, and then there's an alien, got it. So now, another fun mechanic is now we have to fight all of these things while not falling, which we're actually doing pretty good of, so that was pretty fun. But yeah, I'm very shocked and like intrigued by those design choices overall. I don't think that they're bad design choices by any means, but they're just strange. So this this guy's, I'm pretty sure his name is Forearms, but Sparky makes a joke saying like, oh, because you have four arms, four forearms, like the part of your arm that's a forearm, and he's like, no, it's forearms because I have four blades or whatever, and he's like, no, it's like because you have four forearms, and he's like, oh my gosh, just fight me. So Sparky has a lot of really good commentary in this, and I'm gonna try to not die here. Though I am risking it for the biscuit because we're gonna go fast, gamers. We gotta at least try. I did overheat my weapon, which can make this a lot more difficult. But also, if you use the mechanic of like the, I guess like speed mechanic that makes you go left and right with your stamina, you don't take damage while you're in that boosted state. Oh, we didn't die. Awesome. This is actually a pretty hard boss if you play this for the first time. Luckily I had pretty good weapons at the beginning of it, but I think the way that they explain it in the tutorial, it's like, do you want to just not deal with your life problems? Use the speed boost. And I'm like, yo, word. Same.
But yo, that sounds like it's a love letter to speedrunners like me.
Yeah, it's like, yo, yeah, thank you. So now we get bugs and drops from the ceiling and really difficult platforming. And spikes on the platforms. So there's really a lot going on here. Also, these little grape things, I'm gonna call them grape things because they sort of look like grape things, but I really hope they're not grapes because they don't look that appetizing. They come back later in the game, even more powerful, which is really weird. And then you're just sitting there shooting this grape for like 2 minutes because you have to. And I just, you know, it's like one of those things you stop and think about life. You're like, well, I'm gonna spend 2 minutes of my life shooting this grape. Got it. I don't know.
The green ones really look like just a bunch of grapes that got eyes and a mouth.
Yeah. I also feel like some of the enemies were made in like a random generator, which will actually, I say that and there's actually going to be a random generator coming up, so spoiler. Also, here's Nightshade again. Also, when Nightshade like attacks somebody, she always has like a catchphrase like, "From the night I emerge from the shadows," and then Sparky's like, "Oh yeah, it's Nightshade."
Yeah, like it was like when you were flipping through the dialogue, it looks like he just finishes her catchphrase and she's like, "No, stop that."
Yeah, it's like he watches so much Spider-Man and then he meets Spider-Man.
Yep. It's like if someone met Darkwing Duck and like, you know, you just hear "I am the terror that flaps in the night," and you just like have the person like just kind of like being a massive fan, just like finishing the catchphrase, and it's like, why? This is my catchphrase.
Yeah, exactly. So now we gotta. This was what I was talking about with like the whole if you had to jump on like the ball things for gym class. I don't necessarily know if the kids have to do this now for gym, but I remember it was literally like a ball like this that you had to hop around, and it was very uncomfortable because it was made of super cheap plastic. Wow, I got knocked sideways. That's fine. Or not plastic, super cheap rubber, and I just remember dreading
the soul.
Yeah. Yeah, the soul is pretty good. It's super dramatic when you die, obviously. So yeah, this part is sort of even more difficult because you have to land squarely, like square on these little booger things.
Yeah, you can't course correct by using your stamina to flutter, right?
No, it's like you fall. There's no coming back. But luckily we're actually doing pretty good on time right now because I haven't died yet. So unfortunately I'm gonna have to pick up this laser. I say unfortunately because while the laser is powerful, it is very, very direct. Can't really direct like which way your laser is pointing that well. Also, if you use one of these little virus things, they go away and you have to die. Basically to start over in that part of the level because you just, after you use it, you lose it, so...
Yeah, they don't respawn.
Right. And the thing that's difficult about this is, like, you still hit the bugs if you jump on them, which is unfortunate, because you can be projectiled this way, so I'm gonna try to not die here. Awesome. So, it's a very... This part is a waiting game, almost. I almost made that jump. Not quite, though. That's okay. But luckily... Oh, wow. Okay, no! So the spawn point's right there. It's okay. We're good.
Okay.
The spawn point's, like, right here, which is great. Again, this game is very forgiving with save points, which is great. So I'm gonna wait till that... Yeah, so those lasers can also kill you. Or, like, make you jump off course. So sometimes... So for my personal best, I sort of just went for it. And I didn't fall at all, but I definitely had like major anxiety because I was just like, well, I don't know if I'm gonna die or not. But here we go. So this guy, guess what, has a giant eyeball, and he's like, you can't guess where my weakness is. And then I shoot his eyeball, and he's like, oh no, my weakness. So for this, you actually have to shoot. Like, obviously you have to shoot his eyeball, but you have to get very close to his face. But now he has a welder's helmet on, so now we have to wait This is part of the whole thing. Like, this is like phase 2 of the boss, and then he realizes
shield for his eye.
Yeah, and then he realizes he can't see using it, so then he takes it off, and then puts it back on when he realizes he gets hurt, and then rinse and repeat. But you actually have to get super close to the eyeball in order to hit it, so I have to basically hit him in the face with my body almost. And I overheated my big weapon, but we're fine because we have another one. But when people say they're going in like they don't know anything about what's happening, that's this guy. He doesn't know how to do his job very well.
He's not being a very good monster. He does not know how to protect himself there.
Yeah. And someone said weld or something. Yeah, so my partner was a welder and a machinist, and now he's an engineer. So every time I see that, I think of a welder's helmet. But yeah, okay. So next phase is a lava level. Classic, of course. We're gonna be doing lava stuff. So this level is it's actually a lot more fun than a lot of people might think. And I say that because I feel like people have, you know, they sort of like have their favorite level types. Like everyone sort of dreads, like I dread ice levels because I'm terrible at ice mechanics, or like water levels for water mechanics. And like most of the time I don't like lava levels because, I mean, if you touch the floor, it's lava, you die, right? Like I'm really bad at I'm apparently really bad at not touching the lava. So I guess if that is the situation I'm in, I am screwed. But for this game, if you touch the lava, you sort of get like a kickback and you jump upwards, which is actually something that we're going to use as a game or like a speedrun mechanic, for us to keep going on the platforms instead of waiting for another platform to come by. So the floor is lava, but you won't die right away. So that's good. Because I would die immediately in trying to like get to the other side. I'm like a very impatient person. I don't know if any other speedrunners out there are that impatient, but I'm like, I don't like waiting for platforms, so we sort of make our own. But before we do that, we have to fight this like flaming flamingo. I am not exaggerating. It is a flamingo and it is flaming.
I thought it was like a weird cross between a phoenix and a demonic flamingo.
I mean, it could be, but I mean that's also a very good assumption too.
Like the neck and face screams flamingo. The wings like look like a phoenix, but it's just
that's
like
totally fair.
I just what is happening with some of these boss designs? I love it.
I don't know, but I actually like even the pixel art for the fire coming out of the mouth is really cool. If you look at it closely, there's like different textures and like different colors. Like there's blues and purples and stuff in it to like differentiate like a fireball, which is cool. And I'm just like, I don't know. It's a really simple things like that are just, oh, it's really nice. But anyways, if anyone does want to play this game, it came out in 2001, so like 2021. Add 20 years to that. It came out last fall. I actually found out about it during Frost Fatale 2022, so a couple months ago. I saw it on Twitter and I was like, I have to play this, I have to play this, I have to play this, and so I did.
Yeah, like this came out in October of 2021. It's on Steam, Epic Games Store, which I hear it's on sale for right now, and it's on Switch as well. I don't know if it's on PS4 or 5 or Xbox, but I know that it is.
I'm not entirely sure for those yet.
Yeah, I do know that it's on Switch and PC.
Yeah, and obviously I recommend it, but there's a lot of different playabilities in this. Like I mentioned before, it's not only different difficulties, but different kind of gameplay. Like it'll give you a timer and you have to beat the game in X amount of time or else you die, kind of thing. Which is fun. But overall, I think it's a really it's a really crisp and well done indie game. I have not found any sort of glitches for this yet, which is sort of surprising because I tend to find the most random stuff, like when I don't mean to. So like, I've played this game for quite some time. Not that anything's wrong with like glitches in the game or anything like that, but sometimes obviously they arise and people take advantage of it, which is awesome for glitch runs. But like the code is so sound to the point where I can't find anything yet. So, okay, so with the lava level, obviously you sort of see we still have the same, I'm gonna pick this up because I'm going to fight this thing. Oh, this thing is like, sorry, this is like a Super Meat Boy meatball flaming,
Oh my god.
looks like a turd, I'm sorry. It's like, I don't really know how else to describe it. It's a thing that we have to fight. Like, I don't know what it is, like a lot of these bosses are like super weird and like funky and awkward. And it's like, I don't want to look at it, but I can't look away. Like, I don't know. The main thing with this is the flaming meatball things, I guess we'll call them that. Once they explode, they'll give you stars for healing. But otherwise, this is a pretty volatile boss because of all of the explosions happening. So it's sort of just like a lot of dodging, a lot of trying to not die. But luckily, that actually wasn't too bad.
Imagine if this was produced on 16-bit hardware. I can only imagine this boss would lag so much.
Oh my gosh, gosh.
Yeah, with all the explosions and the fire effects.
Well, because, you know, anything more than 6 sprites on a screen is like, you're done.
I like this comparison. He's like an overcooked meatball version of the gingerbread man.
Oh my god, that's even more terrifying.
Magma Muppet.
Oh no! I forgot. I'm gonna think about that all night. Great. Thank you, chat, for your undying support.
Oh, it's beautifies to go with Dusty, the Dust Ox.
Yeah. Now we get double the Dusty. Alright, so I'm basically using the lava to sort of boost myself forward, because nobody likes waiting. I don't like waiting on anything. And we get, I don't know what I would even call that. They're like mock balls, but they are like circular spheres, like a moss sphere or something. Yeah. Alright, so I'm gonna get this power up. Alright, so we fought Planet Dave, and now we're fighting Moon Dave because he is rebranded.
He's rebranded?
I'm serious. He is now Moon Dave. And he has some self-esteem issues. During some of the dialogue, he gets really serious and he criticizes himself, and it's really sad because, again, like, Planet Dave and Moon Dave just want to be loved. They just want to have friends, and they're just like, well, if I'm a planet, then there will be other planets, you know? And we'd be big chilling with other planets. And it's just, I don't know. I feel for him. Obviously, I wouldn't have chosen the life of a moon or a planet or a brain inside of a spherical metal casket thing and call myself a planet, but you know what? You do what you want. Chase your dreams. If you want to be a moon, this isn't just a phase without Planet Dave. No! Dave, we love you. Anyways, well. Oh, new record. Awesome. So, by the way, with each level set, it keeps your fastest time, and apparently that was my fastest time for that level set, so that's awesome.
Yo, awesome.
Yeah.
Good stuff there.
But and that's really, in my opinion, super cool, except for dying in the lava. Okay, so now we enter the part where we have to use these boxes in order to fight the enemies, but also they explode if you shoot at them at all. So there's gonna be a lot of me jumping around, go figure. because we're a rabbit. But not only that, but that's because I'm basically shooting upwards and using the like auto missile kind of thing. So it like shoots the enemy from above instead of just shooting directly from below and like getting rid of the boxes because I have to stand on something. So yeah, there's just a lot happening. And I think these mechanics are really cool, but also very tricky. Okay, can we make this? Probably. Alright, we're good. And then obviously, like, you have your life, but you can't use your stamina. If you've used all of your stamina and you're on top of lava, like, it'll just keep killing you until you die. Keep killing you till you die, yes. Because those are words.
I mean, people die when they are killed, you know?
I mean, yeah, I mean, that's usually what happens, right? So I'm just picking up some health, and I'm gonna risk it for the biscuit and go under here. Alright, we're good. Sometimes you could get stuck under there, but... And guess what? It's our favorite sport queen. That shade. I think her claws look like sporks, and I feel bad about it, but also kind of looks like a spork. So basically, as you can see, I'm sort of just like jumping in the line of her fire because if you shoot this flaming fireball thing directly under her, it does more damage. And I picked up a bunch of armor, so we should be fine. Yeah.
Yeah, it's melting her health bar when you do that.
Well, and that's also a very specific weapon, like this little concentrated fireball thing. Any other weapon set is going to be significantly longer, and we are now on a shark pig jet ski. I am not making this up. We are on a shark pig. Pig shark.
This is some Mega Man X4, like jet stingray feels right now.
It's just, what was I was playing this the other day, and it was, I think, is it Street Sharks? It's like a biker gang, but they're sharks.
I totally think so, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. And it just reminds me of that era of like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but like after that, and they're like, let's try to make something cool. Like, let's pick another animal to like
like
fight
with
other
the
things.
Street Sharks and Mighty Ducks.
Oh my god, yes. And they're just like, let's just have animals fight things. And you're like, okay, that's fine. But I mean, I guess like
back when animal mascots were all the rage, and you know they kind of still are. But
yeah, totally.
Like, not every single game that comes out ever is trying to be the next white-gloved 16-bit mascot. Unless you're Sparky. Then Sparky is trying to be the next white-gloved 16-bit mascot.
Okay, so now we're going to fight an Australian...
is that a Lanoon?
I don't even know what to... it's like, maybe. They're Australian,
it looks like
and they sort of look
Lanoon.
like... It looks like a raccoon-ish sort of situation, and I feel really bad because he actually seems like a nice guy. Like, even like the text boxes, like he just says very interesting stuff that doesn't make any sense. Sort of like when I know a bunch of my friends from Australia and England, they'll just like make up words and they'll be like, oh, it's a Australian or like UK thing or whatever, and then they're like, I'm just kidding, I've never said that in my life, but I got you, kind of thing. And you're just like, all right. That's sort of like what he does. Smacking the boat race, no mistake. And you're like, that, nobody says that. I'm not from wherever you're from, but pretty sure nobody says that.
Was it smacking the boat race? Oh my god.
I don't know. We just
that was basically a Pokemon riding a Digimon.
Oh my god. Oh, great. Y'all have given me so much to think about tonight. Okay, so this is the last, I guess you could call it a world. We're approaching sort of like the last bounty. It is a longer world, but so basically we get more lore, because everyone loves the lore. But there is this scientist that basically is a Wily knockoff. I'm telling you this right now because we've talked about Wily this whole time, and I try not to ruin the surprise for you. But guess what? Knockoff Wily's coming, and he is. He's
so you're saying we've got Dr. Wowie now?
Wowie. Yes, Dr. Wowie. And he's not a nice dude. I mean, obviously, like, Dr. Wily wasn't that good, but, like, this guy is big nasty. Like, he's, like, he takes Dr. Frankenstein to a very cruel level and sort of tries to mix and match monsters genetically kind of thing. There's, like, a lot, I wouldn't say a lot more lore, but there's a little bit more lore later that we'll get to that makes more sense. And here we are at the GIF that is on Twitter. If anyone wants to follow the Games Done Quick Twitter, it's at Games Done Quick. And why am I so invested in it, do you ask? I actually work on the social media team, and we do a bunch of stuff on the Twitters. Go figure. So follow us on there if you want. Or not. I'm not going to force you, but we post a lot of cool GIFs on there, so. And especially during SGDQ, like, the memes go pretty hard. I'm just saying.
Yeah, especially during the main events, which SGDQ is coming up starting on June 26th. So if you want a week worth of, heads up of what runs are coming up, plus memes, you're going to want to follow the Games Done Quick Twitter.
Yes, and I will most certainly be around the Twitterverse to deliver those. But yeah, so this is sort of, it's like a planet spaceship, but it's alive. I don't know, there's a lot happening, but it wasn't too bad. Basically, you have to take out the cannons first. It makes the whole thing a lot easier because then there's less things shooting at you, and then you take out the main cannon in the middle. So now we lose comms with our best friend because he can't listen to us on the radio in there. So now we're sort of radio silent. We're on our own. We got to figure this out. And this is one of the hardest parts of the game because, of course, there's going to be flamethrowers. There's going to be chainsaws. There's also going to be enemies trying to kill you. Lasers. I can't use my fingers to do the Austin Powers lasers thing, but y'all get it. There's really just gonna be a lot happening. So if y'all have any questions about this game, please write them in chat, and the awesome host Amber will assist with relaying the questions because there's no way I can look at chat at this point.
Yeah, that's me.
That is I. But yeah, so now we're sort of like in the bowels of his workshop, and his workshop, I mean the professor. So all of the monsters that we've been fighting have been his creations, including the Nickelodeon Monsters Blob thing. I do have to take care of my health a good bit, which I say and I completely neglect as soon as I say it, but it's fine. But yeah, so basically almost all of, like, I wouldn't say all of the sub-bosses, but a lot of the sub-bosses from the very beginning come back because they're just like, let's just add another weird thing in here. And then there's just going to be a lot of mix and match of different monster types. The main thing for this level is to not lose this weapon, which I just lost because I picked up another one, but that's fine. So this is the random monster generator, and in the corner is the makeshift Wily of sorts. So I will have to make sure I don't die in this section, so I will be doing a lot of dodging and a lot of picking up of stars. This is random, like whatever monsters you do get is random. I do tend to try to get the automatic target missile gun and one other weapon because of the flies. Because the flies can go off screen and you can't hit them if they're in the sky. But obviously if they like come back into frame you can hit them, but luckily we haven't had too much bad luck with monsters so far. This one's one of the harder ones because you literally just have to sit there for like 10 seconds and like shoot straight up at him, or else he'll like bounce all over the screen. Oh, we got 2 flies, that's not too bad. One time I got 4 different flies, which sort of sucked because I also didn't have like the auto shoot thing. But yeah, so basically we fight all of these monsters until the machine is like, I don't know what else to do, you figure it out. Which is actually coming out soon. Like literally the robot is just like, I don't really feel like this and I don't really know, like.
So, someone's asking, it seems like you can use health as a resource a lot. Is this only on the easier difficulties?
Yeah, so you don't get as many health pickups on the easier, the normal and difficult. Like, the super difficult, level sets are, probably on par with, like, the traditional arcade. If anyone has played arcade games and know how difficult they are, then, yeah, it's sort of like playing an NES game. But I choose to play on the more, I guess, the easier side because it's like one of those things where, again, like I just want to get through the lore and the story and show off a game instead of rip my hair out because I keep dying every 5 seconds.
Also, like, easy difficulty is often faster anyways in arcade-style games.
Yeah, exactly. I actually haven't timed my other difficulty and see if it's faster or not, but I actually think like the bosses take a lot longer, so you were absolutely right. And especially there's not as many, I don't think there's as many like weapon pickups either. So like the really good like concentrated fire one is like really scarce. And obviously when you go to the next level, you lose all your weapons, so like kind of pick it up once and then you're done for that level, I guess.
So someone else also asks, if Sparky was a Sonic character, who would be their best friend in the Sonic universe? I can probably answer that one.
Yeah, go for it.
E123 Omega. If you've never seen any of the comic panels, Omega would get along with Sparky quite a bit. Just on sheer carnage and destruction and firepower, just like appreciation of that.
That's fair.
And then we get flamethrowers and chainsaws, but what about chainthrowers and flame saws?
Okay, you say that. Watch out for what you ask for, because there might be some coming up. That actually would be a very interesting and very terrifying thing to even just like participate in. So this, obviously, if you fall off this little bouncing booger thing, you die. But it's actually one of the best vantage points to hit this character because if you jump, it's not high enough. So I'm going to skip this laser. And here we go. So this is sort of part of the lore where the scientist sort of has like this semi-loving relationship with us in like a really weird way because apparently he created Sparky, but Sparky's like, nah, no you didn't. And then he's like, I can prove that I did. Here's like 5 copies of you, but they're imperfect because he's tried to remake Sparky over and over, but has been unsuccessful because apparently Sparky is a psychopath. And he says it, his words, not mine. Like, this is part of the lore. And Sparky's like, whatever, I'm just gonna fight myself. So fight your inner demons, but
it's suddenly turned into a Persona game.
Yeah, it's like now we're like in a deep thing, and at the very end, like I guess spoiler, we're coming towards the end. Oh, new record, sweet. He's like his friend the Shark Pig's like, so do you think this has like a grander meaning? And he's like, nah, I just got money, it's fine. Just like, dude. And now we just destroy everything.
Yo, we get to ride a Digimon!
I wish I had something clever to say other than you literally just press right and destroy things. So you have... you freaking have the dinosaur, and then you have your own weapon set. I usually keep my weapon set on like the automatic, so it like sort of guides where the missiles go. I think this is probably the most satisfying part of the level because of just there's so many things happening and it's just kind of fun. before the final boss, which we are coming up on relatively soon. Which there's a lot of concentration involved, so it's kind of nice to just sort of like coast and ride a dinosaur. Again, something I never thought I would say. Getting stuck on these things on my feet, but that's fine. Yeah, so you just kind of casually like ride a dinosaur, that's fine. So we're going to get off of the dinosaur. But first we have to fight Nightshade one more time.
Like, Nightshade, what are you doing here?
Like, seriously though. We find out Nightshade is working for this evil doctor thing, which isn't great. But Sparky doesn't care, and Sparky still wants to be your friend, so... so there was just a lot happening there, and I don't necessarily know if I was getting hit or not. I just saw a bunch of explosions, and she is off screen. So the Sport Queen of Doom and Darkness and Shadows and stuff, same mechanic as before, but it's actually a lot more difficult to dodge her missiles and her sporks. I'm just gonna call them sporks, that's fine. That actually wasn't too bad. I kind of want to preserve my life a bit because this next stage is going to be a little difficult. So round 4 is the last stage I want to pick up. Okay, so I got these weapon sets. Just as a heads up for the studio, we've got maybe 2 minutes left. So this is the makeshift Wily with pink hair, which obviously I have a little bit of pink in my hair, so no shade against that, but shade that he's just a very nasty dude. He wishes he was Dr. Wily, but he's not. And we have to fight him. And I guess trigger warning to anybody that doesn't like skeletons or like Attack on Titan type looking monsters, because it gets real weird real quick. So the doctor turns into his own monstrous creation, and now we gotta fight this thing, which is him, and it's kind of terrifying.
Oh lord.
Yeah, it's
yeah, that guy, this is like Andros, but on some form of like
yeah.
Extreme?
Yeah. I did lose my really powerful weapon because I got distracted by the terrifyingness of him, but it's okay. Regular weapons will do just fine. But yeah, the main thing is keep shooting at his face or his hands, but obviously there's monsters on the ground, so you have to make sure that you don't die because they run into you and then these things are coming at you. I should probably use, yeah, I'm gonna use the, there we go. We're good. So yeah, the doctor's like, how dare you, I'm going to become the perfect being, and then we're just like, shut up! Like, you're ridiculous, like, why? This still doesn't make any sense and you're ugly. Like, so that's sort of the situation that's happening right now.
Like, I'm gonna become the perfect being. Is this your idea of the perfect being?
Yeah, it's like Instagram versus reality, except Instagram is like a terrible, demonic, just, I mean, it is, but you know what I mean? But yeah, so there's still a lot. We're actually coming up on time soon. Basically the last hit is going to be time. Whenever I can see the bottom of the screen and time. So we destroyed. Oh sweet, that was actually pretty good.
Yo, everyone get your GGs out for Air Angel with that really awesome run of Spectacular Sparky 100%.
Yeah, thank you. And I'll show you the ending screen because you get to see our shark pig friend. So we defeated the doctor and we got the bounty and we're rich. And our friend is just drinking a Cosmo or whatever. We're just chilling.
Yo, he is just big chillin'.
Like, it's so good. I love his character design so much. And like, if you see like Sparky's hands and feet aren't like attached to him because he's actually made of stardust. So you kind of see that more here. But anyways, thank you so much for letting me show off this game, Amber. I've always loved your show, and it's really great to show off a game that, you know, probably would never be on any sort of main stage anytime soon. I don't know. We'll see. I might submit something, but if anyone wants to play this game, please go check it out. I know it is on PC and on Switch. Sparktacular Sparky. It is something. It is definitely a game. That's just kind of fun to play if you just feel like an arcade shooter, you know? But yeah, I think that's about it for me. If you want to follow me, twitch.tv/AirAngel and AirAngel TV on Twitter and Instagram. I am a really big member of the Frame Fatales community, so if anyone has any questions about that, we do have a command and chat if you want to learn more about the all-women speedrun community. They're super great, so shout out to all the Frame Fatale ladies out there. Yeah, I don't know. I play cute, nonsensical games, so that's just sort of my vibe. But yeah, thank you so much, Amber. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate you submitting the game. Like, I genuinely do, and I'm really, like, this was a delight to watch, honestly. Like, y'all should check this game out. I hear it's on sale on the Epic Games Store for now, but it's also available on Steam. It's available on the Nintendo eShop. Pick it up, maybe speedrun it if you like it, and just, like, get to enjoy all the lore. And, like, I guess you told me that there's a lot of dry humor. If that's your kind of thing, you'll find that here in this game. But we're going to move on to a break before we go into our next run. Our next run coming up is Karmaflow, the rock opera video game, which is a 3D puzzle platformer that tells its story through adaptive music and a sung narrative. We've got Midnight Vesper, who's going to be taking us through that. And until then, I just want to remind everyone that from now until July 15th, GDQ's revenue from subs, Prime Gaming subs, gift subs, and bits cheered after taxes will be donated by GDQ to Doctors Without Borders. So if you do support us from now until July 15th, that will happen, and it would be very much appreciated to see your support come through. But we're going to take a quick break, so get up, take care of yourselves, walk around, and get maybe a drink or get a snack, because we've got another run coming up next. So I'll see y'all on the other side. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode 33 of Never Before Seen. My name is AmberCyprian. I am your host, and we're bringing you one more run tonight of a game that has never before been seen in a mainline GDQ event. And as always, if you happen to speedrun a game or a category that has never been run in an AGDQ, SGDQ, or GDQx event, and you would like to submit it to the show, type !NBS into chat. You'll find the link to be able to send me your runs, and I would love to have you. So, I've got Midnight Vesper here with me, who is going to be taking us through the rock opera video game that is Karmaflow. And so what I understand about this is that it has adaptive music and the narrative is sung. Is that right, Vesper?
Yeah, so this is Karmaflow. Let's make that, you know.
My goodness.
Where the main character is everyone's favorite protagonist. Oh no, the name just left me. Oh no, my Yu Yu Hakusho puns are going to Kurabara. That's who it was. But no, this is Karmaflow, the rock opera video game, where it's basically an opera. It is basically an opera, so where all the cutscenes, all the dialogue is completely sung. It is a completely unique soundtrack composed by the I forget who composed it, but it's the performances by the Metropole Orchestra, as well as various other musicians in the European symphonic metal industry. So you're looking at bands that are huge in there. And we do have a lot of names that you may recognize either as the artist or in the band throughout this. So this is a very, I know the music in the background, if you can hear it, is not necessarily that, but it's very, it is metal. So if you're a fan of metal, you may like the soundtrack, you know. So yeah, there's a lot that's going to be done here. I'm going to go ahead and get this taken care of. And we're going to go ahead and get started into the new game right here. We're going to go in 3, 2, 1, go. And we're going to have a loading screen here. You're going to hear in the original explanation of the narrator, who is voiced by Charlotte Vessels of the, well, now solo, but it was normally in the band Delane. Delane is, I have to pull this up here. They are from the Netherlands. They've been around for about 15 years or so. So you'll hear a lot about that, and a lot of the orchestral music, once again, recorded all with the Metrical Orchestra. This is all completely original music designed for this particular game. This was also, I believe, one of the games that was a successful Indiegogo campaign, raised, I think, close to $500,000 to create this game. The game was released in 2015, and yeah.
Now, it has 2 acts to it. Were those released together or separately initially?
No, the Act 2 was released, I think, 2 or 3 months out. For a long time, it was just the Act 1, which is just Worlds 1 and 2. And then Act 2 has Worlds 3, 4, and 5. So...
Okay.
Yeah. They were all put together. I think they were all part of the same campaign, but they focused a little bit too much on Acts 1 and 2.
Right, and they were like, well, we're going to release what we have, and then we'll release the second act of the musical, if you will, or the opera.
Mm-hmm. So you actually play as what's known as the Karma Keeper. Your job is to listen to all sides of the story of each individual world and then make your decision based off of what you believe is actually what's going on here. Each world kind of has a different vibe. Each world has a different viewpoint and everything like that. This one has the main characters are the Muse and the Conductor, and they are lost lovers. And as you can see, because of that, kind of this was a very snowy, very kind of desolate, I think. Very, very kind of somber area. And naturally, we go through that way. We hear a lot of lamenting from the conductor at first, to kind of give you an idea of what the story is. But we're speedrunners, and we're not going to do that. We're going to skip as many songs as we possibly can throughout all of this. But there's a lot of points where you cannot skip cutscenes because of how the music impacts with that. So this is the Proto Keeper, who's sung by Bas Dolmans, who is actually a solo artist, but was in a side project in the early 2000s called Zeistis. And that's where a lot of the artists kind of came from here, was from the side project Zeistis. You can watch the whole concert on YouTube, actually. It's actually a really cool thing if you're into the power metal or that kind of like rock metal opera. We're going to grab all of these. This is kind of explaining all that's happening here. What we're doing is we can extract life, we can give life back. So now we learn how to extract life. We're going to be infusing light to give that life back. We're going to go over here and take a safety save because we're going to go out of bounds. We're not really out of bounds as much as going a path that the game really was not supposed to tell us what to do. And again, we're not supposed to be doing anything over here, but we're going to jump. I think I can jump again. Jump, and then we're going to dash. And you don't know how many times I've actually failed that. There we go. And then you can fall off of that cliff a lot because it's the landing area is a very tight landing area.
Yeah, like that looked extremely tight.
Yeah. There's a lot of that in the first couple worlds where that happens. And then again, with the Proto Keeper is how they teach us all the controls throughout the game. You don't learn everything here at the beginning. Slowly, after each and every world does give you a new ability. We won't see all of them. Really, you won't see a good chunk up until the very end. Now we have the ability to fly. The game tells us that we want to go that way. We don't.
Oh, but you have the ability to glide now, right?
Right. And then I go, okay, there it is. So this is by far the hardest trick in the game. You're like maybe a couple minutes in and already you have the hardest trick in the game. Because of how tight this out of bounds window is, it may lock me out. Nope, okay. I know it didn't look like it, but that is the hardest trick to do throughout this entire section. So now we went out of bounds, skip a couple cutscenes, skip a couple songs between, I believe, the Muse, who is voiced by, and if any metalheads out there understand this, Alicia White-Gluz from the band Arch Enemy, as well as so many other side projects. She is also in the newest metal game. Wow, the first-person shooter rhythm game, which is Metal Hellsinger, I think is what it's called. It was at Summer Games Fest. There we go.
Yeah, that's actually pretty awesome.
Yeah. And so once again, we're out of bounds. I'm not supposed to do this. I have to be kind of careful because the dashing does have a certain amount of speed to it. And if you're not careful where you're dashing, you can just completely dash right off a cliff and, then have to... The game will just basically put you in a different area. Here's a really interesting section that you'll never see. It's a puzzler to where you basically have to find a bunch of musical instruments, but those people that were just kind of standing there are actually throat singers. 2, 3. And unfortunately, it's sad. I don't remember who it actually was, but they are credited somewhere as someone who is actually the official throat singer. And if you don't know what throat singing is, it's basically exactly what it sounds like. You sing with your throat, so you kind of create this really kind of low, raspy tone to it. And unfortunately, we don't hear it because it's so cool, but... And then, let's see here. I hate the camera angle there. It always defaults into there. So you see that white spurt to represent air. What you're hearing is a lower brass instrument or a section of lower brass instruments, including trombones and tubas and maybe a sousaphone. Well, not a sousaphone, that's the same thing. Maybe a French horn, I think is the majority in there. You may hear a lower tone trumpet, but I think it's majority of it's going to be trombones, tubas, and French horns for that type of lower brass instrument. And again, everything here is completely original. Nothing it's not MIDI. Everything was recorded with an entire orchestra. As you can see, once again, we kind of take the lives of these animals and plants, everything else along those lines. So we get karma points. Karma points are what we're going to end up using later on, and I don't know if I got that. We use them later on to help determine the type of endings that you're going to see here. That is our first glimpse in the speedrun of the the conductor. That is voiced by Mark Hudson of the band Dragon Force. No, I didn't get it. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So. And I love this section because you think there's an entire puzzle here we have to spend a lot of time to solve. But in reality, because we're using an earlier build of this game, a lot of the walls just kind of don't exist. So we just go through a wall. That's something. That's what you normally do, right?
It's like, the solution's above me. Yeah, sure. I'm totally going for that. The ceiling does not exist.
Okay. Yes, I got it. This is oh no, okay, I spoke too soon. That's a really interesting kind of trick that I've learned, that if you position yourself in those horns at the right spot, you can just skyrocket up the whole time and not have to worry about any of those kind of bumpers there to kind of bump you and kind of get in the way. So in the meantime, if Chad, if you're interested, what bands do you like? Amber, what type of music are you a fan of?
Oh god, when I'm not listening to video game soundtracks, because that's most of what I listen to these days, but I really, really enjoyed the genre of nu metal when I was in middle and high school. So a lot of Disturbed, a lot of Godsmack, some Mudvayne and Slipknot, stuff around there. I haven't really branched out too much since I started listening to almost exclusively VGM, because video game music is extremely there's so many genres within it. So I'm usually never bored of it. But we got from chat. Oh, go ahead.
That's the first roll right there. So we skipped the boss fight between the conductor, because we're trying to figure out what's going on really in the soundtrack. You find out basically here in this little opera that we have the muse and the conductor, who were once lovers. They're finally reuniting after seeing each other for so long. The muse has been basically corrupted. Which again, right there, if you know anything, that's Alicia White-Glues, who has both an amazing growling voice and an amazing singing voice, which you're going to hear in a little bit. I see a lot of bands that are on here that I actually know and actually really, really like, which is nice. It's so hard because you wanted to sit down here just not talk, where you could just really let the music kind of thrive.
Yeah. It's just it's really hard to want to commentate because you just want to listen, vibe, and just let it take over.
I've been waiting for a sequel. I want a sequel to happen to this game. So again, we're using an earlier build, and you're going to see that's going to happen in World 2. And here's exactly why we can't skip these cutscenes here. So each time you have two options in each individual cutscene. So you can either infuse or you can extract, and that's going to determine the type of ending you get through each individual world. So we're going to infuse either to free the conductor, or we're going to extract to help the muse. A lot of times this can be musical preference on what you prefer, but a majority for the speedrun is going to be based off of what is fastest. So a lot of times you do hear this. And you get a chance, like, if we do true ending, which is not an official category as of yet, I would love to see individuals try to help to develop the true ending run at this, because if you do the endings as per what the soundtrack says, you get an extra special song at the end.
Ooh.
Well, yeah, we're not going to do that here, because that basically negates what we're going to do in World 2.
Are there certain songs in each world that are longer or shorter depending on what you infuse or extract?
Yeah, there are a couple. I don't remember which ones they are. It's been a minute since I played this game casually. But yeah, certain if you infuse and extract, you're gonna have a little bit longer, which will make the timing long. But there are some where it's just preference on you like this version of the song better than this version.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're interested in the game, as always, this is like $5 on Steam. So it's not that expensive. And if the Bandcamp is still available, you can get a FLAC version of the soundtrack downloaded for I think another $15, if not less.
Yeah, like I've never seen a game like this before, with that was an opera like through its narrative. Like, this is actually really, really cool, because I love like musical theater, and like this is kind of like dipping into that for me.
Yeah, I would love to see more stuff like this, and it's interesting because we're seeing this evolution of rhythm games back in the 2000s to where they were just mostly like Guitar Hero, Rock Band, and we're getting to this point now to where we have like this, we have oh man, I can't remember the roguelike music game that I can't remember what it's called. I know there's also Legends of Hyrule. There's No Straight Roads. There's two or three first-person shooter rhythm games now involving music. But it's nice to see this kind of expansion of music evolving into games as a big proponent, which I'm a huge fan of.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, how did you actually end up finding this game in the first place?
I went on a video game blogging site, which I shall not say. And thank you, Crypto Necrodancer, that was it. And they wrote an article about this game, like when it came out. And all I needed to see was rock metal opera, and I was like, I'm buying it. I don't even need to read the article. I'm sold. And it took me a hot minute to speedrun this because I didn't know about the earlier build. And I want to give a shout out to Random Pink Bunny, who was the individual who went off and posted a video of the speedrun like on YouTube, and I watched it, and I reached out to Random Pink Bunny and I said, how did you do that? And they said it was an earlier build. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. And once I did, I was like, after that, I was pretty much just completely sold on the speedrun. And it's one of my favorites and one of my underrated speedruns. And so what we did here, we kind of took the bad ending because we kind of freed the world, but in the process of freeing the world, we just basically took the life of our conductor here, so that they're actually now back together as a couple. But in the process, we had to kill the conductor so they could be happy and kind of make everything else happy.
Wow. Like, I just really like how like you said, there's karma points, and I just really, really enjoy the fact that there's like, it's kind of testing your morality, your sense of morality here. In addition to like, hey, what kind of music do you like listening to more out of these two options?
It's really interesting the first time you play it because if you don't know, and then you have to go off and be like, do you save the world and like ruin this, or do you save their relationship and ruin the world? And it's all about all of that. So here's world. Yeah. So here's World 2. Also, Charlotte Vessels does a great story. I guess it helps a great time explaining the story of each individual world, everything else along those lines. So it's great to read. But what you're going to see here is, let's see here. It's right here in my notes, actually. The guide, who's voiced by Mark Jansen of Epica, as well as Mayan was the other voice. But what you hear here is he's the one who kind of guides individuals to kind of like go from section A to section B, so to say. And what happened was he looks at each individual and say whether you're worthy to get to the next section. And someone came in to try to get to the next section who was just had such distraught minds, who had such an aggressive mindset that it basically corrupted the guide. And then what you're trying to do in this particular world is you're trying to gather the shaman, who is voiced by Lindsay Schoolcraft of Cradle of Filth fame. And unfortunately, we're not going to hear Lindsay at all because, while she voices all four of the shaman to help trying to like kind of like reason with the guide and try to get everything back so that the guide has a proper mindset. We're not going to do that because remember when I said there's an earlier build here?
Yeah.
We're skipping this entire world.
Oh, God. Right, because you had mentioned, like, if you had chosen a certain ending in World 1, it would have completely negated what we're doing in World 2.
Exactly. Because then you have to do the entire puzzle. And this is a long puzzle because you have to go through this entire section to go through a lot of puzzles, find each individual shaman, and then you have to then it's like a companion section where they follow you, and you have to guide them. Also, this introduces another mechanic. So you see how the contrast between that kind of chrome orange and the purple. Mm-hmm. This shows exactly what happens. If you step on that purple long enough, these creatures come and they will end up taking your life. Just like that. So we don't want to stay on that purple. And that's pretty much... And the camera shifts. When it happens, the camera shifts to kind of tell you, hey, buddy, don't stay here long enough.
So yeah, you're kind of being targeted.
Yeah. Ooh. So as soon as we go over here, again, we're kind of off the beaten path here. We're not technically out of bounds. So I'm going to go over here. We have a little buddy here. We're not going to be worrying about the buddy right now. We're going to hear more about the buddy in World 4. So there are 5 worlds in this in the any % category. I didn't mention that earlier. Ooh, that was close. We skip a lot of World 2 and World 4. Worlds 1 and 3, we basically kind of spend the longest at, and then 5 is just kind of an anomaly. So
I'm sure that'll get elaborated on when we're there.
Yeah. So here we go over here, the camera shifts, and that's it. So for some odd reason, there's an unusual bug that happens right there that triggers this ending. And that's why nothing looks normal here. Because the game thinks, oh, you went through all this trouble, you completed this entire game, and you chose this ending. So you see all these angles that are very weird. I'm supposed to have the shaman kind of, talking to the guide again of Mark Jansen. And that's also why there's no subtitles on the bottom either.
Yeah, like the game isn't like the game's thinking one thing when that's not at all what happened.
Right.
Also, while we're waiting for this cutscene, you also host another show here on GDQ Hotfix. Is that right?
That is right. I host the Bargain Bin, which is ironically every other Wednesday. So that's from 7 to 10 every other Wednesday. And also for the record, for I think Richard, for some odd reason, we just entered Act 2. But for some odd reason in Act 2, and I don't know if it's really with it or not. Like the audio is just a little bit softer. Yeah, I'm not sure why that happened, But this is Act 2, and it works really well because there's a point right at the kind of the opening song, not this one, but the next song, where the game will just randomly crash. I hope it doesn't happen, but if it crashes, we have to go back and start Act 2 again. Because
oh my goodness.
Yeah, I've tried so many ways to figure out, can I fix this, can I fix this, can I fix this, can I fix this, and I have not found a way.
So you said this is an earlier build. I assume this was like one of the first releases of the game, correct?
I think so. It's first or the second. And because if you watch like a lot of the text has a lot of errors. And I'm really curious as to why they patched this out. How do they find out about this patch? Because that's what I'm really curious about. So this is, again, World 3, where we have the two big things you're going to hear is, at the very beginning, here's Maria Angela Dematoris, I think? Someone correct me on that, who is actually of Tristania fame. And then if you have any kind of power metal fans, big power metal fans here, you're going to recognize the voice of Tony Kakko from... Hey, remember that point when I told you that the game likes to randomly crash?
Yeah.
Okay. My controller...
Okay. We're moving.
My controller just randomly decided to be unplugged.
Is that a DualShock 4 by chance?
No, it's a custom Xbox. It's an Xbox Elite.
Oh no.
But it was just like I guess like my cord's dying or something like that.
Yeah, like when you said your controller decided to unplug itself, I was like, that sounds like a DualShock 4 because those USB ports on them are terrible.
I was about to say that's never happened before, and I was trying to hit the start button to reset the world. And yeah, that's when I realized, oh, that's not even working. Did my controller just die, you know? But no, we're good. But yeah, you're going to hear three powerful voices here. Marie Angela from Tristania, Tony Kakko from Sonata Arctica, and Elise Ride from the band Amaranth. Sonata Arctica has been around since the early 2000s. Probably them and Cradle of Filth are probably the bigger names that are in here.
That's still like really incredible that they got so many like incredible people involved for the soundtrack for this game.
Yeah, and everything, and like I said, everything's originally done, and this was an Indiegogo campaign as well. So, like that's really one of the nifty things about this. All right, we'll go ahead and put this here. This is by far the hardest section of worlds that you're going to do here because there's a lot of stuff we're going to do to really kind of go off the path that we're not supposed to. We never really go out of bounds here. We just kind of find alternate routes to get where we need to go. And this is really fun. This requires probably the most amount of concentration. And I'm just now doing this because for the longest time it very much looked... Yep. See? Yeah, that's why you shouldn't do that. As I do it again. You know what? I'm not going to do that anymore.
Like, you have tempted fate twice and managed to make it out. I don't know if the third time is worth. So the orange dots that are following him, or like that are on his back, are what we call karma points. He extracted the life of something like plant or animal life in the world around him. And he can use that to interact with different parts of the story, usually like either extracting or infusing the essence of life in like major cutscenes to decide the fate of like, you know, the world or the characters in it. If I've gotten any of that wrong, by all means, correct me.
No,
but that's what I was following along with.
Yeah, that's pretty much right there. And there's a lot of stuff that you learn here. So in Act 2, we do learn a lot about the kingdom and everything else along those lines. So you find that you have the sun god and the bird goddess. Sun god is voiced by Tony Kakko. Bird goddess is voiced by Elise Ride. and essentially, and it was explained in the opening cinematic as well, that they are brother and sister, and at one point their father had moved on. I don't want to use any words that,
Yeah.
But, essentially what it boiled down to is there was no will left, and the sun god the sun brother and the bird goddess basically had a scuffle on who was actually right to take the throne of this kingdom over here. In which case, it ultimately went to the sun brother, but the bird goddess was very much not in the mood, so she went down and kind of took over the water area, which you're going to hear in a minute. And then what we do is we intentionally reset our level here once we get to this checkpoint, so the game knows that we are here. Because if we don't, what's going to happen next here does not happen. And this is kind of like the only, like... there are a couple of boss fights you have here in this. This may be one of the harder ones. But if you know that it's entirely pattern-based. So as long as you know the pattern here. Also, for a little bit of music, for the music community out there, the music here is in 7/8. Or 7/4, I'm sorry. And if I want to, I can actually explain that into a little bit more detail.
Yeah, like, by all means, like, I'm really enjoying just, like, the fact that this game exists. Like, it is such a cool thing, and I want to see more games use, music for the narrative, and not just like accompaniment to the narrative.
So in music, oh, shoot, I messed it up. In the sense of music, when you hear a traditional song, stuff that's mostly on the radio, it has 4 beats and a measure. And so usually if you hear the snare drum, they're always, the majority of the time, going to be on 2 and 4.
Yep.
And that's usually how you can tell. If you listen to this, you can hear, you really can't bob your head to it. You really can't necessarily do that. So what that means is that it's kind of an odd time signature. It's actually
its
in the
time
sense
signature
of,
is very strange.
Yeah, it's in 7 beats over 1 measure, and that 1 measure equals 4. So if you hear it, it goes like dun 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 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, something like that. That was horribly timed. I'm playing a video game. I can't play a video game and count music as well. But if you hear it, it's okay, yeah. No, you're right. It's in chat. It's a 7/8. So yeah, that's what threw me off. It's 7/8 rather than 7/4. So music terminology is a little bit weird. But yeah, if you listen to it, it's basically in a pattern of 1 2 1 2 1 2 3, or sometimes 1 2 3 1 2. But you hear that bump 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 bump. It's just very generic. But if you hear it, that's kind of how you do the subdivision of the particular song. I appreciate chat.
Yeah, chat is great right now.
If you hear that beat, it's like the bum 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 bum. That's kind of the subdivision, how you would mentally kind of count this if you're kind of in that mindset. And if it was you're going to hear here in a little bit when something is 4/4, it's just very, you can just easily bob your head to it. And this is our underwater level. If you know anything about video games, the underwater level is always the hardest.
Oh, yeah.
Or the more.
I assume that there's going to be some weird physics here.
Not really.
Or
the
is it...
Keeper all of a sudden has a propeller on their back.
So instead of wings, we've got the propeller now.
Yeah. Which is fitting. But a lot of times this can be a little tricky, but we're going to, again, skip this level. Again, I believe this is something else that Random Pink Bunny found. If you go through here and you jump on these, and this is a little tricky because it can be a little hard to see. You're going to have to go all the way to this back area, and then go here, and then wait for the bottom right for that save to load, and then we're going to go load into the Sea God, which means now we skipped a little bit like halfway of a song with Eileen's Ride. and we're gonna go off and fight this giant fish. And so what we're gonna do is we're basically gonna annoy the fish by setting it on fire. I'm gonna do this, I believe,
because that
10
works
times.
underwater.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, that looks like fire, right?
Yeah.
And if I did it right, the camera should shift. There we go. We're just you know, annoying it a little bit. So I gotta be careful about occasionally some of this. I think that's right. There we go. Yeah. Okay. Because what can happen here is if I get hit by the fish and I go into these purple lakes, regardless if this cutscene plays out or not, I will die. And I have to restart this whole battle again. And you really can't control, like, as you'll see here in a second, when the cutscene triggers, you can't control where your character goes. Whee, there we go. All the way off.
Oh.
I cannot control that. Here's about a 5-minute cutscene. So if you want to have any questions, if you have anything you want to say, anything else along those lines, this is a perfect opportunity to say stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, I just want to thank you for submitting this some time ago. And I reached out to you like, hey, do you want to do Karmaflow on my show? Like, it'd be kind of cool because I hadn't had you on my show yet. And I'm very, very glad that you've introduced this game to the chat. You've introduced this game to me, and I think this is actually really cool. And I just want to remind everyone as well, in terms of announcements, that we do have a highlights channel on YouTube. It's called Games Done Quick Highlights, and it's a channel that features highlights of our GDQ hotfix shows. So whether it is something like Never Before Seen, or Mercy Kill, or Bargain Bin, which also this game qualifies for Bargain Bin, incidentally. You know, I lost my train of thought. Where was I? There we go. If you want to see highlights of our GDQ hotfix shows, use the _ highlights command, and you'll learn more about our highlights. And that being said, Bargain Bin, that's a show that came on around the same time Never Before Seen became a show as well. Like you've been with hotfixes about as long as I have.
Yeah, that's
and yeah, I think we were among that batch of like 6 shows brought on. And your premise is a game that retails or either MSRP or the like current average price, I think, for like retro games right now that aren't on virtual console releases or re-releases or compilations. Like I think the price threshold is $20 or less, right?
Yes, we do not count sales because those can change from any moment at all, but like for you know, current games that are on things we use, like, you know, all the digital sites, Steam, GOG, itch.io, Epic Game Store, etc., etc., etc. And then if it's a retro, we'll basically look at like loose price of the game, so we can actually determine that way. Also, I hate this section because not only do you not use the one that's closer, but if you didn't see this, the camera doesn't shift. So if I'm looking, basically right now I'm looking at the camera during that particular cutscene, and then for some odd reason when the cutscene's over, I'm looking at like a completely different section. So you can't just like hold your controller. Also, I have control of my Karma Keeper during this cutscene, which I'm not supposed to have. We use that to our advantage, but if you look in the background, during like a lot of the wider shots like this one, you can see me move around just ever so slightly. Just in the background, just being blurred out.
Our fish friend is back.
Yes. I love how chat's enjoying my t-shirt too.
Yeah, your t-shirt is delightful.
It's a Yeti t-shirt if memory serves me correct, and that's something to point out because Yeti makes great shirts.
Yeah, they do. Most of my shirts are Yeti shirts.
Let's see here. Where am I at? Uh-oh. Where am I at? I'll find out here in a moment.
Oh, there you are. You're like directly below where they were just moments ago.
Okay. if
where
I'm in
the
that
Sun brother was.
Yeah. That may be me, or that may be the game thinking that's supposed to be me.
Oh,
Because it-
uh-oh.
Yeah, because of me being the Karma Keeper, I'm supposed to listen to this and figure out what is the right decision for this particular planet. I'll find out here in a moment. Hopefully I didn't fall off into the ocean again. There I am. Okay. Oh, I was about to fall off into the ocean though.
Oh no!
Uh-oh, I can't find out where I'm at. There I am. Okay. I need to be like right around here. Okay.
Oh my god!
That was close.
Yeah, no, like,
right there.
for anyone who was just joining, this game tells its entire story through rock opera sequences. So, like, very long cutscenes that are all, like, you know, rock opera musicals. And once you listen to the music and listen to what's going on, you then have to make a choice
okay.
using... Ooh.
Okay. Well, I couldn't do
Okay.
that. That's fine. But so we normally I save normally I would save the Sun Brother for this. But for this, I figured, not because I messed up and didn't get a karma point or anything like that. Figured for this one we're gonna save the wonderful bird goddess instead.
Bird Ghost.
Yeah. So if
So
you like to
what-
make it, go ahead.
I was gonna say, what does that, how does that affect the route? Does it at all?
No, not really. No.
Okay.
If I was going for a world record attempt, then I would reset immediately because I think this is a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
But no, doesn't really do much to the actual section at all. The only thing is you don't get to see the creepy character, because if you watch the other cutscene with this, there's a character in the background after all of a sudden just behind one of those pillars looking at everything, and it's super creepy because you don't know why they're there, just in the background, just staring in his, just staring at the whole thing. All right, so this is World 4. World 4 is probably the one where we don't get to hear any songs. Which is sad, because if you're a big metalhead, you would want to hear this one in World 4, because it's got Henning Vassey of Mayan and Danielle Deja of Textures. Two amazing, really hard, kind of almost death metal type vibes. This world is also kind of like the interior design with the hero in the heart. And if memory serves me correct about this, basically this world is kind of like a world where everyone's just kind of always building and making sure everything's taken care of. And then what eventually happens is the hero kind of comes in and changes the vibe a little bit, changes the community. And the heart, ironically, just basically just says, nope, we're not doing this. We're gonna go ahead and get rid of all of this information. We're gonna get rid of this entire planet, and then everyone just ran away. And we were naturally figure out what world we're supposed to be in, but we're not going to. And you'll see here that this is a very desert-based area. And it's very high humidity, like where I'm at right now, where the humidity's at like 90%.
Yeah, the Northeast US right now is like not having a good time either. I'm just like, it feels yucky.
And this one, again, we're going to go off, and what you're going to see, again, something else that Random Pink Bunny discovered in this particular game is there's a little spot where we go completely out of bounds. And it's very much in the vein of, oh no, this looks out of bounds. Wow. Also, the controls in here aren't the best. Sometimes I'll do, the game will think I'm doing a double jump when I'm not supposed to. And it can be a little frustrating. some of that just happened there. Also, we kind of just got on a giant spring and just went thrown across this entire planet.
Whee!
Yeah, pretty much. Whee!
That's the only thing I think about when you're like, yeah, we got like sprung across the entire planet. Let's just cue high pitched. Just this squid looking thing with wings, ethereal wings.
Well, remember, this is Kuwabara, so...
Yes. Too bad we don't have a spirit sword.
Too bad. Or a spirit gun.
Oh, well, then
we're
we'd be
not talking
Yusuke.
Yeah, well, that's right. We would be Yusuke at that particular point. And we're not talking about the orb. So the orb is kind of the part of the puzzle, is the more puzzler section here. And then when the orb shows up, it means we basically have to complete a giant puzzle to get to the next section. And we have to collect a bunch of karma points in order to get that taken care of. Oh, okay. And so this is one of the few times where we're actually going to work on completing an entire puzzle. You were saying?
I just wanted to make sure, since you've alluded to a poll at the end, like at one point in this world, did you just want to kind of like, describe what that's going to be at some point?
Yeah. So at the end of this game, you have a choice between whether you want to, again, infuse or extract. But the endings will be voiced by either Simone Simmons of the band Epica or Danny Filth from the band Cradle of Filth. So the point was, because they don't have any real correlation to the game, it's basically right at the end when the timer stops. So I was going to throw a poll up. Which one does chat want to hear? Danny Filth or Simone Simmons? So, and I'll put a reminder up. It's coming up starting here soon, but oh. There we go. Okay. I'm not going to look at that poll. All right. We're almost done with this. And if you look down at the bottom there, you'll see kind of a grid section. And if we were doing this without going out of bounds or something like that, that's what we would be doing. We were going through that whole puzzle. And of course, we're not going to do anything along those lines. Because why would we?
It's like, that sounds like work.
Yeah. Okay, and then we're going to dump basically all of our karma points there, which unlocks this section to where you go to the next part of it. Again, we're not going to be doing any of that. Instead, we're going to go completely out of bounds here. And remember I told you that it looks like you're going out of bounds? Yeah, this looks like we're going out of bounds, right?
Chat is apparently trying to go for a 50-50 in the poll.
Oh, gosh. I don't know if I can do that. I'd have to go back and let you hear the other ending then. All right. And then we're going to go fly back inbounds. This is kind of a tricky section here because you have to figure out not only where you're going, but since you're going back inbounds, you have to make sure you're facing the right direction so you know exactly where you need to go to trigger the end of this particular world. And where are you at? Ah, crud. There you are. Okay. Almost got scared there for a second. There we go.
The results are in.
Who is it?
We're hearing Danny.
All right.
That was a 52% to 48%. Just 2 votes set
close.
that off.
Oh, wow. Danny Filth has an amazing growl, and you'll hear that. It's a very iconic growl. Also, we're in World 5. If this looks anything familiar to World 1, there's a reason for it. Also, we have this ability of kind of like a power jump. Ooh. That may be recoverable. Did not position that correctly. Nope. Okay, that's fine. We'll take the L.
You.
Yeah, I didn't position the spring jump a little well. We learned that in World 4, and we are introduced to it by Boss Dolmens, our protokeeper. But because of how much we skipped in World 4, we don't actually see it, but we still get the ability because it's required for this section here. But yeah, what's happening here is, if you notice, like, this is kind of combining all the worlds. We're not supposed to really be here plotline-wise. Well, plotline-wise, we are here, but in the sense of why are we here? So we made it all the way to the decision of, basically, we meet the creator and the destroyer. And the creator is the one who created the world, and the destroyer is the one who basically goes off and says, yeah, this world doesn't exist anymore. Simone is the creator, and Danny Filth is Simone Simmons is the destroyer, Danny Filth is the creator. And you're going to hear a nice, scuffle between them here in a minute. I'm going to go over here, take that save point. If you saw the flashing on the bottom right, that is basically the game saying, okay, you found your save point. And we're going to go all the way
The
over
skybox
here.
in the distance is really cool looking.
Oh, yeah. This section, like, this world is actually really... all the designs here about this are completely original, completely unique, and just really cool. I gotta position this right. And again, off the beaten path. I really love the design of the Karma Keeper in general. It's just a very beautifully crafted design.
It really is. It also vaguely reminds me of a squid. But
yeah.
like, it's mostly just the legs and like the bottom half of it. The rest of it is just like kind of like almost like a idol, and I like it a lot.
Oh,
Ooh.
Is this the time where I say the thing?
Yeah, you can say the thing.
That's never happened before.
It has definitely
Why?
never happened before, I'm sure.
Why? Oh my gosh. I've never had it to where it would just throw me like that.
Yeah, like that just like was like, nah, I'm gonna eat you across the place. You're gonna have to do this over again, and that's just how this is gonna be.
Yeah. Which is fine, because you get to see one of the coolest... I need to... Alright, there we go. Let's try that again. There we go. Alright. Then I'm going to... put that up there. We have that for our advantage. We're going to jump, not use the air, and boost our way over here. So we go under this section, wait for the load screen to happen. We're going to reload here to Judgment. And this is a really interesting section because you're on a global timer. This is a 2D section. This looks like a 2D auto-scroller on a three-dimensional plane. So essentially, there are no invisible walls on the sides. You'll see me move in a 3D plane, but it's an auto-scroller that looks like a 2D, like a 2D section. Also, the boxes disappear and reappear. So you kind of have to fully remember where they are. Sometimes they will appear off camera. They'll sometimes appear at the very bottom. Sometimes they'll appear at a spot where you cannot see it.
These cubes kind of remind me of the end of Super Mario Odyssey.
Yeah. And yes, for the record, I've actually fallen off by just moving too far to the back of the row.
Yeah, it sounds like something I'd do. The lack of depth perception.
Yeah. All right, there we go. Yeah, and as long as you get to here, this section, you're fine. Even if you're far back, because the cutscene will still trigger. And the fact that this was built in Unreal Engine 3 in 2015 is really, really unique.
Oh, wow.
I would really enjoy this. Also, those are all the runs that I've died on. Those are all Karma Keepers.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that's every run where I've died at. Where I just hit the reset button, you know. But it's really interesting because here they're debating that they're debating on the fact that the Karma Keeper should not be here in this particular section. So they're debating on what to do with the Karma Keeper. So they're basically kind of figure out, like, do we destroy this version of it and then try again, or do we try to preserve this and kind of build, you know, learn our lesson and stuff like that. Again, the unique design of that, created by both, you know, like the elegance of what Simone Simmons has versus that kind of chaotic energy of Danny Filth, all echo in just the design of who and what they are. Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just like for the creator to be designed, you'd think the designs would be reversed.
Yeah. But it echoes kind of on the personality of the musician.
Yeah.
And again, this is a nice fight scene between the creator and destroyer. We're getting close to the end, by the way. Let's see here. Let's hope the game doesn't mess with me here. Jump. And then hopefully, yep, okay. There are so many times I lose to run just because I hit that brick there and I just fall because the game just refuses to let me turn left. Like I said, time's coming up, so get ready on time. Time will be when the cutscene starts after I pick Danny's hand. Danny, of course, is over there on the right side. I'm gonna go. I hit an invisible wall because I can. And time.
GG.
Yeah.
Everyone get your GGs out for Vesper here.
Not that bad of a run, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, it looks like it was a 52-57.
That's not bad. That's not bad at all. For a marathon, yeah. A couple accidental deaths, yeah. But yeah. And because we picked Danny, we're basically going to reset the entire universe and do it all over again.
Sounds like speedrunning.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. And this is where the extra song plays. So if you go through and get the do all the right endings to what the game wants you to do, you get a special new song here. Whereas this is just kind of background music with, you know, text to explain what's happening. You get an actual song that explains what's really supposed to be happening. But yeah, that is Karmaflow, the rock opera video game. Thank you all so much. Enjoying all of it.
Yeah, thank you so much for submitting it, because I'm actually grateful to know that this game exists now. If you have not seen this game before, you should check it out. And it is, you said, like $5 on Steam?
Yeah, pretty much. It's like $5.
Yeah, like that's actually incredible. Like, this game came out in 2015, which is like 7 years ago. So like, it's been out for a while. You can also check out the soundtrack as well. I know that they have it on Steam. They may have it on Bandcamp still. But just like so many incredible names, incredible musicians, incredible singers involved in the soundtrack, and that's so cool for an indie game. So check that out. Check out Midnight Vesper, twitch.tv/ is it midnight_Vesper?
Yeah, midnight.
No extra TTVs.
No, no. Oh, there's one thing that I didn't mention is that you'll see here, kind of here, sometimes some of the characters are wearing like clothing that kind of echo their character. When this game was first kind of coming out and putting on Bandcamp, they actually went on tour with the original music and actually played like rock venues as like, I forget the name of the band or whatever, but they actually played the music live as a way to kind of gauge the audience. Like right there where you see the Proto Keeper, that was Boss Dolmas playing the Proto Keeper on stage as a touring band promoting this.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Like, I absolutely adore it.
There is a Karmaflow 2. It is not a sequel. It has nothing to do with this game.
Yeah, maybe there will be an actual sequel someday, but that is like a horse of another color. And I want to thank you all for being here. And Vesper, thank you so much for like showcasing this game. And you won't see NBS until after SGDQ, because SGDQ falls on the week that normally would have Never Before Seen. So my next show will be July 13th. And I'm probably going to try to pull some of the backup runs from the event to give them a shot on the stage and be able to show their stuff off, because they'll have done a lot of work being ready to help out with SGDQ in the event of any sort of schedule snafu. And not all backup runs get used, and I want to give them a new lease on life and showcase them usually immediately after SGDQ as soon as I can. That's the kind of thing I do with Never Before Seen. And other than that, I just want to remind you all that if you are watching this on YouTube, if you go to twitch.tv/gamesdonequick, if you're interested in looking at our live content, we start weeknights at 7 p.m. Eastern and weekends at 1 p.m. Eastern. And tomorrow we have the first step, followed by Victory Lap, which are all starting at 7 p.m. So you'll have the first step, TFS, at 7 p.m. And then around 10 p.m.-ish Eastern, Victory Lap will begin. It is back from its 1 week hiatus. And until then, I will see you all on the other side. Just to remind yourselves, you're absolutely worth taking a break. Take care of yourself, and we'll send all this hype over to another person partaking in speedrunning or speedrun adjacent content. Until then, I'll see y'all next month. Take it easy. Have a good SGDQ. Bye.
See you all at Summer Games. Bye.